that aspect of your question. Well, I think there were probably a group of people that it was on their mind, but not in any sort of mainstream,
And I grew up in the Florida.
yeah. So, no, my mother's side of the family had a trans member who came to my grandfather's funeral, dressed as a woman, and
Yeah.
even then, I remember feeling so badly for how they treated her, and I can't imagine what it would have been like. This is really
People are in. I'll play a little bit at a lower pitch. I'm at a lower pitch.
Okay.
Good morning. Welcome, everyone. I loved all the conversation I was hearing this morning. I suspect it has something to do with the amazing weather that we're having. I know I felt so much more alive today than I've felt the last couple of weeks when it's been colder. Welcome to Unitarian Universalist Society. We are grateful to gather on this beautiful morning, both in person and online, for a time of inspiration, reflection, and connection. Whether you join us today with joy in your heart, weighted with burdens, or searching for meaningful connections, we are glad you are here. My name is Kwanda Hood, and I am a worship associate here at Unitarian Universalist Society. My pronouns are she, her. I am a medium tall brown human in my early 50s with today short, curly, kind of reddish brown hair, wearing tortoiseshell glasses and a red sweater because clearly you can see I got the memo. And I'm standing in the pulpit here in front of our sanctuary that is filled with people of all ages. Through the window walls of our beautiful sanctuary, we connect to the outdoors, where it is a glorious day, filled with friends, love, light, warmth, and sun. Thank you. Excuse me. As we gather, we give thanks for this land and all who have cared for it over the centuries, particularly the Kickapoo, the Iowa, the Sauk, the Mizwaukee, and the Oceti-Sakowin nations. As people of many ages, genders, races, sexual orientation, classes, abilities, and health statuses, we know how important it is to come together as a radically welcoming spiritual community. As Unitarian Universalists, our faith expresses our core value of love through how we agree to be together and support one another. We are guided by the shared principles, sources, and values of our living religious tradition, and this morning, as we celebrate interdependence, we'll explore that value through the sermon that you're going to hear today. If you're newer to our congregation, we invite you to learn more about us after the service. For those here in person, you can talk to a greeter in the atrium. For those online, there's a link to a visitor form in the YouTube notes that will connect you to us. And now we're going to have our call to worship. And this is going to be hymn number 576, A Litany of Restoration. Wait, no, I might just be reading something. I am. Call to worship, sorry. If recognizing the interdependence of all life, we strive to build community, the strength we gather with will be our salvation. If you are black and I am white, it will not matter. If you are female and I am male, it will not matter. If you are older and I am younger, it will not matter. If you are straight and I am gay, it will not matter. If you are Christian and I am Jewish, it will not matter. If we join spirits as brothers and sisters, the pain of our aloneness will be lessened, and that does matter. In this spirit, we build community and move towards restoration. And now our opening hymn, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. In the hand, giving life the shame of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
As Unitarian Universalists, we light a flame within a chalice as a symbol of sanctuary and safety to unite us in our worship and to remind us of our ongoing search for the light of truth. Please join me in saying our chalice words as Kepler lights our chalice. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather to celebrate the wonder and the mystery of this great gift. So let us now kindle the flame of our liberal religious heritage and renew our covenant of mutual love and care. Love is our doctrine, the quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, and to serve those in need. This we promise, this we covenant with life and one another. Each week we light a candle for justice and healing to acknowledge our interdependence with the natural world and with all members of the global community, especially those most vulnerable. I've been asked to share with you that it sounds like there's a bill that's going to go before the legislation on Monday that is going to work to dismantle the Iowa Civil Rights Commission. Diana Henry provided that information to us. I was told to share that she'll be available after service today, although I don't see her yet, if you'd like to get more information about what's going on. Personally, I did try to Google it last night. I wasn't finding anything specific, so it might be something that you'll have to pay attention to in the next 24 hours. If Diana's not here, feel free to reach out to us and we'll try to get that information to folks as we can. We light this candle so that we may not be numb to injustice and trauma, but rather find strength, courage, and love as we work in solidarity with others for liberation, justice, and healing. Together we create resilience and hope. As I light this candle, let's hold a time of silence to listen to our hearts and bodies, or perhaps to lift up prayers. And now, time for all ages with Nick, and we're going to be reading We Move Together.
Thank you, Kwanda. As Kwanda just said, my name is Nick. My pronouns are they, them, and I am the grateful director of Lifespan Religious Education here at UUS. The pictures for our book today will be up on your screen, but if you would like to come forward and sit on the cushions, I'll be sitting down here while I read the book. So if you'd like to come close and see the pictures of our book before heading to Ari, please feel free to join me up here. All right. As Kwanda said, our book today is called We Move Together. It was written by Kelly Frisch and Anne McGuire, and the illustrations are by Eduardo Trejos. All bodies are unique and essential. All bodies are whole. All bodies have strengths and needs that must be met. We are powerful, not despite the complexities of our bodies, but because of them. We move together with no body left behind. This is disability justice. That was written by Aurora Levins Morales and Patty Byrne. Now our story. We move fast. Do you see all the kids moving fast in their different ways? we move slow. They've slowed down a lot, haven't they? Some of them are laying down now. We move together. Sometimes we have to wait. Waiting can feel boring, frustrating, hard. Waiting can also feel exciting. Do you see the people waving to each other? They had to wait, and they're so excited to see each other. Like butterflies, like love, we wait so we can spend time together. Sometimes, when we're together, we get stopped in our tracks. Like when all the fun and flavors of ice cream are just one step out of reach. What do you see? Do you see the cat on the step there?
Yeah.
Can this family get inside?
No.
No. That would be very frustrating. We notice when things are unfair, and it helps us get creative. We make plans, we solve problems. There they are working together. We build something better. What do you see in front of all the stores now? Do you see those colorful things? What are ramps? Yeah. So now anyone can get into the stores. We work together. Kids and dogs, bodies and machines, bees and flowers, fish and water. Relying on each other helps us get where we need to go. Sometimes we find ourselves in unfamiliar places. We wonder. We get curious. We might have more questions than answers. Our questions can help us learn to do things differently and discover new ways of understanding each other. What do you see happening here? Does anybody? Sign language, yeah. For things that connect us are also what nourish us, like roots and tubes and straws and friends. And these things that connect us are often what challenge us. Sometimes we disagree about how to be together. Solving one problem can create another, and we don't always know how to make things better. The people on this side of the book are writing signs that say things like, say no to straws, skip the straws, save the planet. But on this side, the posters say things like, straws are access. Disability justice is climate justice. So the things that connected them are what challenged them. Sometimes we need to take a break. Reaching up to the sun and the trees. Even when we're by ourselves, we never move alone. Like feeling so close with someone who's so far. Like learning from others who have come before. Their memories can ground us, soothe us, move us. Whether we're by ourselves or surrounded by many, our small movements can turn into big movements. We celebrate. We make change. we move together. The back of this book, which I'm not going to read right now, has lots of information about ableism and accessibility, disability arts and culture. I'm going to leave it up here. Please feel free to look at it after service today. But now, it's time for my friends who are heading to our religious education classes to come forward so that we can light our lantern and take it to class with us. We have classes on UU values through Bluey and through Legos, and anyone who wants to join us is welcome to come forward while Riley lights our lantern. Here, I'm gonna hold it, stand up.
Take with you the flame from our chalice. Take with you the light and the hope. Take with you the blessings and love. Explore our faith and grow. Take this flame as you go.
So due to our expected length of the sermon today, we've kind of shifted a couple things around. And for example, we're not going to do joys and sorrows today, but just wanted to make you aware of that. The offering today is going to be with table to table. Cash or checks may be given to an usher mailed to UUS with the agency's name in the memo line. You can also donate online. How we give and what we do with our lives, our time, and our resources is a reflection of our values. In response to the abundance we are blessed with, every week this congregation donates generously to organizations in the community whose work aligns with our values and principles. Our community partner agency this month is Table to Table, an organization that bridges the gap between abundance and hunger. Table to Table's mission is to increase food equity and reduce environmental harm by collecting and redistributing surplus food through partners to people who can use it. In the sanctuary, the ushers will collect the offering, or you can follow the instructions on the screen for how to give online. All cash contributions go directly to the Community Partner Agency. In addition to assisting our community partner, you may contribute towards your pledge towards our society or contribute to the congregation to provide additional support for operating expenses. You may also contribute by check using the memo line to designate the purpose. The offering is a sign of commitment to this free congregation, which is completely supported by the generosity of all who join with us. As we give and receive the offering, may we be transformed by our giving, and may the world be transformed by our gifts.
Son of mine I love so well, and all the toll it takes. I would give to him a garden and keep it clear of snakes. But the one thing he most treasures is to make his own mistakes. Oh, he goes charging up the cliffs of life, a reckless mountaineer. I could help him not to stumble, I could warn him what to fear. I could shout until I'm breathless, and he'd still refuse to hear. Oh, but you cannot close the acorn once the oak begins to grow, and you cannot close your heart from what it fears and needs to know, that the hardest part of love is the letting go. As a child child I found a sparrow that had fallen from its nest, and I nursed it back to health till it was stronger than the rest. Oh, but when I tried to hold it, oh, how it pecked and scratched my chest till I let it go. And I watched it fly away from me with its bright and selfish song, and a part of me was cursing I had helped it grow so strong, and I feared it might go hungry, and I feared it might go wrong. Oh, but I could not close the acorn once the oak began to grow, and I cannot close my heart to what it fears and needs to know, that the hardest part of love is the letting go. And it's only in Eden grows a rose without a thorn, and your children start to leave you on the day that they are born. They will leave you there to cheer for them, they will leave you there to mourn ever so. Like an ark on uncharted seas, their lives will be tossed, and the deeper is your love for them, the crueler is the cost. And just when they start to find themselves is when you feel they're lost. Oh, but you cannot close the acorn once the oak begins to grow, and you cannot close your heart from what it fears and needs to know, that the hardest part of love and the rarest part of love and the truest part of love is letting go.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much. We come together to remind one another to rest for a moment on the forming edge of our lives, to resist the headlong tumble into the next moment, until we claim for ourselves awareness and gratitude, taking the time to look into one another's faces and see there communion, the reflection of our own eyes. Kathleen McTighe from Singing the Living Tradition. This is a reading called The Chair Rocks, a Manifesto Against Ageism by Ashton Applewhite. Aging isn't a problem to be solved, or a disease to be cured, or something icky that old people do. It's how we move through life. And more of us are doing it more than ever before in human history. What stands between us and making the most of these longer lives? Ageism, judging, stereotyping, and discriminating against people on the basis of how old we think they are. Solve for ageism, and we also address sexism. Aging is gendered. Ableism. Disability is stigmatized, and racism, which denies multitudes the chance to age at all. All efforts to help catalyze a grassroots movement to raise awareness of ageism and how to dismantle it are encouraged. I've had the privilege of the last couple of weeks helping to work with Mary Kathryn to get her ready for her sermon today. And it has been a privilege to watch her work and to learn from her, and really to sort of look into my own future of what possibilities there can be, because nothing seems to slow her down. So it is with great pleasure that I invite Mary Kathryn up to speak with you now.
2. I have to have the step stool, so we have to get it just right. Good morning. I'm so happy that you are here. So I will tell you that my voice is raspy. I had hip replacement surgery, and with the anesthesia and the tubes down my throat, my voice has not yet recovered, but I will speak clearly. Raise your hand if you cannot hear me, okay? I'm Mary Kathryn Wallace. My pronouns are she and her. After a strong marriage of 61 years, I'm now a widow. I have 3 children, 6 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. I am short and getting shorter. I have short white hair, and currently I'm recovering from hip replacement surgery and a hard post-surgery fall. Most importantly, my spirit remains strong. As matriarch of my clan Wallace, today I'm wearing my Wallace sash and the tartan Wallace sash and my crest pin in honor of all ancestors and my place among them. Appreciation of old age. You are in the right place. I've been looking forward to sharing my message of appreciation of old age. Thank you once again for being here. A favorite quote of mine is from Oliver Wendall Holmes. A mind stretched to a new idea never goes back to its original dimension. My hope is that this morning, through my words, as I share my story, your mind will be stretched in a good way. At my conclusion, I'll summarize with 3 messages which I hope will stretch your mind and be put into action, because now they belong to you. I do not identify with today's derogatory definitions of old women. I have reclaimed the ancient identity when hag meant the holy one, witch, the wise one, and crone, the crowned one. That's why in 1998, at age 59, I had a croning ceremony that has allowed me to embrace my final years of my life more fully. I am a crone. In 18 days, I'll celebrate my 85th birthday. I'm grateful I have lived this long. My most profound growth and learning have occurred in my 70s and 80s. Like a veil to the mystery of the universe has been parted, allowing me to experience life in a more authentic, deeper dimension, with an appreciation for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Old age is a great leveler of life. Now let's expand our minds and hearts to include appreciation of old age. Author Avery Brooke states, "We live in a culture that idolizes youth and dreads old age. An absurd state of affairs when many of us are already old and the rest of us face that prospect. So I ask, what is it like to grow old, to be old? I'll share parts of my journey, influences that shape my path into old age and continue to influence me. People have different ideas and feelings to the messages about growing old. Here is a passage from the book Green Winter, Celebrations of Old Age by Elise McClay. It's a book of word portraits of real people, which holds a mirror up to us all and reveals their images of age and life. Here's what one woman shared. I hate the way I look. I mind being wrinkled and stooped and shaky and gray. When I look in a mirror, I feel betrayed, as if a dear friend had turned into an ugly beast. But that's unfair. My body is still my friend. It struggles valiantly to do my bidding. I should be kinder to it. The years have been pelting it, and I haven't helped much. I eat too much, drink too much, get angry too much, overwork. Actually, my body has forgiven me a lot. I should be more charitable to it now. When young people look away in distaste, I should say, never mind, old friend body. They don't know all you've been through. When they're old one day, too, I just hope they take it as well as you. That's one view, and I'm very drawn to that. In contrast, this is from the textbook Educational Gerontology, where I studied gerontology at the University of Michigan. Gray as beautiful. Yes, gray is beautiful, yet it is an acquired taste. It takes time, open minds and hearts, and some guidance to learn to appreciate the beauty of old age. Old faces have nonetheless excited painters and sculptors for centuries. There can be beauty in an old face where the wrinkles of time tell the story of a rich life filled with hardships, successes, sorrows, and joys. There is beauty in a face that shows wisdom and serenity. Appreciation of old age is an attitude that is learned. It needs to be learned from childhood on. It needs to be learned by the aged themselves. Both of the readings I read were tipping points in shaping my attitude toward the way I age. Sadly, that learning and attitude are vastly lacking in our society. My story that I'm sharing began when I was about half my current age. I'm now 84, and I've lived more years than my parents or grandparents. There's usually a special connection between grandchildren and the grandparents. All my grandparents died before I was born, so I missed a vital relationship with that generation. It was 1983 My father had recently died, and my mother had passed away 8 years prior. I was 44 years old, a mother of 3, and a graduate student in gerontology, the study of aging. Because of a recent move to Grand Rapids, Michigan, due to my husband's profession as an environmental engineer, I was unemployed and having difficulty finding a new position. My interviews went well, yet someone younger was always hired. I realized if I were 15 years younger, I would have been welcomed into employment. And I experienced an aha moment. So I decided to return to school and become a gerontologist. After all, you can't be too old to be a gerontologist, because years lived and life experiences make you more credible, not less. In my adulthood, I've been drawn to the entire arc of life, including the third age, the final chapter. After experiencing the end of my father's life, I realized how his life had become smaller. He was no longer the revered medical doctor. He was an old man who was often alone. Because of him and also my own aging, I wanted to be part of a change for a better quality of life in aging. I now viewed the world with more significant distinctions. For example, I became aware when someone was noticed merely because they were young, while others became invisible because they were old. From then on, when I was out, I would smile and say hello to the elders I saw. In return, I saw their eyes brighten as they smiled and returned my hello. Something as simple as a smile given freely can temporarily brighten a person's entire world. This is from Grace Lee Boggs, who lived from 1915 to 2015. We never know how small activities will affect others through the invisible fabric of our connectedness. In this exquisitely connected world, it's never a question of critical mass. It's always about critical connection. I say yes, the world is brighter when you are visible, acknowledged, and know you are connected. Yes. I see you. For me, this reinforces our first UU principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. It means me, you, the homeless person we quickly pass by without eye contact, the ill, the delinquent, the lost, the refugee, every person. When I said me and you, I hope you correctly received my intent. Be kind to yourself and know you have inherent worth and dignity throughout your life. And I have inherent worth and dignity throughout my lifetime. When we become old, too often we suffer and sustain loss after loss. The world passes us by, and we no longer believe in ourselves as we once did. I recognize this in me at times. Here's another message I want to share. I wish everyone deeply understood that being able-bodied is temporary. Being able-bodied is temporary. Let's return to the first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. This means me, you, and all others. Look around at those gathered here. Take a moment to really see some of the people around you. The children have gone to classes, but there were children, youths, young adults, parents, even great-grandparents like me. We are each ourselves and different from one another. Right now, right here, if we were all 5-year-old kindergartners, we would be so much more alike than now at our various ages, because as we grow older, we are shaped by our life experiences. Here in this sanctuary and throughout the world, we have diversity because of our different ages and life experiences. We each bring our own strengths and experiences and our individual stories. Here, in this special place, we can listen and learn together. We can support one another's life journey. Let's take advantage of this opportunity. Let's learn each other's stories. I've asked you to put yourself more fully into our first principle. Now I invite you to consider who you are and how you became you. Every person is indeed unique, but let's explore that a little more. To everyone here and those with us online, listen carefully and enjoy the wonder and magic of ancestral mathematics. An important insight in my aging is that I am not alone. I draw from the lives, wisdom, and experiences of past generations and the future generations I'm contributing to. What I'm about to say is true for everyone, for every person you know or don't know, for each of us gathered here, for the nearly 8 billion humans living on Earth. Even if you have no knowledge of your biological family, it's true for you. To be born, you needed 2 parents. If you're young, you might have been sitting with them here. 4 grandparents, you might be remembering them right now. 8 great-grandparents, whom perhaps you were lucky enough to know. That's often as far as most people know of their lineage, with names attached to their ancestors. But, of course, there's more, so let's continue. 16 second great grandparents, 32 third great grandparents, 64 fourth great grandparents, 128 fifth great grandparents, 256 sixth great grandparents, 512 seventh great grandparents, 1,024 eighth great grandparents, 2,048 ninth great grandparents. And we've just now gone through 11 past generations. For a person to be born from the 12 previous generations, each of us needed a total of 4,096 ancestors over the years. 4,096. It's a huge number. And we're only going back about 300 years. Since it's usually accepted, there will be approximately 4 generations in a century. Think for a moment. These are not just unknowns and therefore of no interest. These are people who are directly connected to you and to me. I feel connected to my long line of unknowns. I ask myself questions like, what were their struggles? How many battles touched their lives? How many difficulties? What sadness came to them? How many relocations? How much happiness? How many love stories? How many children born? How many failures, successes, or near successes? I am curious about their stories. What are their stories? This is big for me. How many expressions of hope for the future did my ancestors have to undergo for me to exist in this present moment? How many expressions of hope for the future for me, for you to exist in this present moment? Right now, in this moment, I welcome the wholeness of every person, present and past. As a great-grandmother, I more deeply understand I am an ancestor to future generations. I am the living expression of them, and I'm grateful for the inherent worth and dignity of all who brought me to life and to this moment. Every moment matters, including this one. Today, I've shared ways I've grown and stretched in my views and experience of aging and reached appreciation of old age. Before we depart, in addition to our first UU principle, I have 3 messages I want you to take with you and remember. 1, yes, gray is beautiful, yet it is an acquired taste. It takes time, open minds and hearts, and some guidance to learn to appreciate the beauty of old age. Appreciation of old age is an attitude that is learned. It needs to be learned from childhood on. It needs to be learned by the aged themselves. Appreciation of old age is an attitude that is learned. 2, don't judge old people by their physical appearance. Being able-bodied is temporary. 3, the third is a secret I want to tell, and I hope you'll share, because it should not be a secret. It should be common knowledge. Inside every old person is a wealth of stories and a depth of experience. Are you interested in these stories? Be interested. Be curious. Think of all the stories within an old person. Think of all the ages they have lived. We contain within us all the ages we have lived. In fact, if you're younger than that person, they have lived every age that you have lived and more. This can be a connection. We are alive to live our whole lives in connection with others and our environment. As UUS, our first principle, asks us to honor every person's inherent worth and dignity. It can begin with a smile of connection. To be of service, we need to apply the first principle to ourselves as well as others. Once again, remember, appreciation of old age is an attitude that is learned. Being able-bodied is temporary. Inside every old person is a wealth of stories and a depth of experience. Be curious. Don't keep these messages a secret. Be stretched. Old age is a great leveler in life. Let's expand our minds and hearts to include appreciation of old age. This week, spread the word. Connect with someone old and smile. I'm old, and I invite you to connect with me. My soul, your soul longs to fulfill its purpose. May you find your unique place in the interdependent web of life. As this service ends, it is my hope that something I've shared has stretched your mind and your heart. So now, please pause, take a deep breath, and hold a thought of appreciation of old age, and listen to these words. We give thanks. We give thanks for being. We give thanks for being here. We give thanks for being here together. Blessed be. Thank you. Okay. There. My knees locked in. There's
I just hope I'm that graceful when I get to be that wonderful age. Thank you so much, Mary Kathryn. This is closing words by Wayne Arnason. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard. The path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. May what is shared today help us more fully affirm our interconnection and live into love and justice. Immediately after the service, we gather in the fellowship hall and outside for conversation and community. For those who would like to share their joys and sorrows in conversation in a smaller venue, the Pastoral Care Associates will be leading a Compassionate Connection Circle in the Walnut Room immediately after today's worship service. Also, today's Lunch and Learn, I think, went out this week electronically, is a make and take class on Kime Komi balls, and they'll be doing that in the fellowship hall right after service. This afternoon, Dr. Stevenson will present a pianoforte recital at 4 p.m. This would be a great opportunity to learn more about this historical instrument and enjoy the music by Haydn, Beethoven, and Mozart, with Dr. Stevenson leading the discussion. Tickets can be purchased at the door. And now to close our service today, we will sing Let It Be a Dance. Please rise in body and spirit as you are able.
Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let it rip to turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow in the wind. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. A time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as it passes by. Let it be a dance. Dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Morning star comes out at night. Without the darkness is no light. If nothing's wrong and nothing's right, let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain. And round we go again. Let it be a dance.
Hope everybody was able to get their boogie on. Please join me in the words for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. All these we carry in our hearts and in our minds until we are together again. Prayer for the second half of life. Spirit of life, we hold in our hearts all who are in the second half of life, those who aspire to move from aging to saging. We breathe with those hearts that have been broken open, that we may continue to grow in love. We breathe with all who have been disappointed, that we may continue to dream. We breathe with all who no longer find delight in the activities of our youth, that we may find new delights. We breathe with those who live with daily pain, that we may find comfort and strength to greet each day anew. We breathe with those experiencing new limits in the body, grieving the loss of what we once could do, held by the body's possibilities still with us. We breathe with those whose fire is running low. May we be open to the spark of inspiration and new life. May our journeys of aging and awakening together be a blessing.
Thank you.